The Virginia Collaborative Archaeological Survey is a partnership between the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, NOAA's Maritime Heritage Program, and some state universities, including East Carolina University and the UNC Coastal Studies Institute, to investigate potential archaeological sites located off the Virginia coastline that may be in an area to be developed for offshore wind energy.
The purpose of the survey is for us to bring all of our resources to bear on ground truthing possible archaeological sites. BOEM's lessees provide us with information in their plans to help us make decisions about where to site these renewable energy structures. But oftentimes there are things in their geophysical surveys that lend us to believe that there might be historic shipwreck sites down there. Obviously we don't want to allow them to build on top of these really important maritime heritage sites. So part of the work that we do is to go out and bring to bear all of these many resources in one survey effort. We look at those geophysical survey targets and we put divers on them if appropriate, and then we can identify if these are really important heritage assets that need to be protected.
So this wind energy area is just a little bit north of the Monitor National Marine Sanctuary, and there are other wind energy development areas off the coast of North Carolina. So this is really the beginning of a partnership between NOAA and BOEM because we have a mutual interest in these resources and how best to manage them. BOEM's interested in them from a compliance standpoint with developers, and we're interested in potentially historically significant shipwrecks that might be of national significance for archaeological purposes.
We use a variety of tools to determine if something on the bottom is a potential archaeological site or a potential shipwreck. The first step in the process usually involves what's called a remote sensing survey, which may use several instruments including a side-scan sonar and a magnetometer. A side-scan sonar or sector scanning sonar are devices that bounce sound pulses off objects on the bottom, and the device can record the speed and intensity with which those sound pulses bounce back to the device, and with that information it can take that sound energy and convert it to a visual image of objects that are on the bottom. And with that visual representation we can sometimes see objects that appear to be shipwrecks or other man-made objects indicative of potential archaeological sites.
And what comes up in these geophysical surveys, we can also drop divers on them and use human eyes to figure out what they are, take measurements because we can compare measurements to historic records. So there's a whole suite of important things that we use, including photography and videography.
We have several hundred years of maritime history off of our nation's coastline. There are more shipwrecks out there that we haven't found than there are that we have found, and we quite simply don't know what we have out there. But any shipwreck we find could have very unique information. Each shipwreck is itself one-of-a-kind object. It may have human artifacts from past eras on our nation's history. The ship itself may have been involved in the early exploration of the coastline or important commerce to help develop the eastern seaboard. They may have been involved in military action. There are all kinds of types of shipwrecks that are located off our coast, and it is important that as we develop our offshore energy reserves that we do that in an environmentally responsible way to try to identify these sites that may be within areas that are going to be developed for offshore energy.
The shipwreck that we dove on yesterday and this morning was about 100 feet below the surface. It was in fairly good condition, and it was in such good condition that we think it may not have been previously known. It certainly wasn't on the charts. So we think we have an idea of what it might be. We need to go back to the historic record and take our newly obtained measurements and compare them with some of the historic record and see if we can come up with a name for this shipwreck.
So these projects are important for a number of reasons. One is that we have a need to collect data. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management has a need to collect data to ensure that any developers that are working in these areas are doing so in a way that's not harming any significant cultural resources. The Monitor National Marine Sanctuary is interested in these things because of their potential significance to the nation and our maritime heritage. So for those basic reasons, this data has value to us, but this collaborative spirit of working together between two different federal agencies and academic programs like Coastal Studies Institute, it gives us the ability to really maximize our potential by pulling from everybody's various expertise. Some people have access to vessels and equipment, different photographic equipment, and coming together to apply all that expertise really there's a synergy there that makes these types of things a lot more economical to do, and you ultimately get a much better product out of it.
The public should care about these sites because it's their shared maritime heritage. It's the wonderful thing about this country is that we all own these things and we're all responsible equally for protecting them. And that these shipwrecks tell a story of our past. They're a time capsule. When we look back into the past and we see our material culture preserved in such a pristine condition, it's something that we can all relate to. When you can see those things that were handled by past people, you can touch the past in a way that you probably can't any other way. Reading a book doesn't give you that experience. Seeing these sites, that gives you a very direct experience.